Many years ago, in a town nowadays Ivan, there lived a young boy named Kofo. He was the only son of the richest man in Ivan, Chefkola. Chefkola had been married to Bisola, Kofo's mother, for several years. Also, Chefkola was very wealthy, with houses, lands, and companies scattered everywhere. He had eyes for only one woman, Biso, his wife. Their marriage was a love match. Chefkola and Bisola had shared a kind of love that only a few people ever experience in life. They both loved each other very much. However, Biso was barren. In their over 15 years of marriage, she had never missed her period or gotten pregnant even once, and this was a great cause of concern of her. Chef Cola, on the other hand, did not seem to be bothered whether or not they had a child. He loved his wife Biso so much, and she was enough for him. He assured Biso every passing day of his undying love for her, and in their 15 years of marriage, despite their childlessness, he wondered why he had never once thought of cheating on Bola. She was the essence of his life, and she was all that he ever needed or wanted. But Bola was never satisfied. She was very unhappy. She felt her life was incomplete because she did not have a child to call her own. Rather than basking in and being content with the love that she and her husband shared each day, she was unhappy and tormented herself for not being able to give her husband a child who would carry on his name and inherit all that he had. After years of trying and laboring for a child, finally in their 15 years of marriage, God remembered Biso and she got pregnant. Bisola and Chef Cola's joy knew no bounds. They were so happy. At last, I will no longer be called barren, Bola thought to herself. However, Bisola had complications during childbirth due to her age, and she did not survive. She died a few days after giving birth to Kofo. Chef Cola was so devastated. She wept for many months, and she wished his wife had just listened to him and stopped searching for a child. However, he was comforted by the fact that she had left a piece of herself for him to hold on to. At least now he had Kofo. Kofo was beautiful as a girl. He looked exactly like his late mother, Biso, and this brought some comfort and joy to Chef Cola because it made him feel that Biso was still with him. Chef Cola loved his son Kofo very much and could never say no to him because each time he looked at Kofo, all he saw was his late wife, Biso. Because Kofo and Biso shared a striking resemblance and he could never say no to Biso, so he could never say no to his son Kofo. So Chef Cola gave Kofo every single thing he ever asked for him. At 16 years old, Kofo already had 2 cars. Kofo wore only designer clothes and had more money in his bank accounts that he ever needed or could ever spend, and this had gained him several friends and earned him the title Young Money among his friends. Kofo had become very irresponsible and lazy. He threw parties in his father's mansions every other week. He brought girls of all sizes and shapes into his father's home and slashed money around as if it grew with a tree. Despite all this, his father Chef Cola still enabled him. He thought nothing wrong with any of the things he did and never cautioned him because all he could see was the face of his most beautiful wife, Bisola, whom he had lost to the cold hand of death several years ago. Kofo did very badly in school because he never studied or took his education seriously. He skipped classes very frequently, and although Kofo failed woefully, in very single school. Sergeant Chef Kola would often make a huge, mouth-watering donation to the school, and they would always promote him to the next class, even when it was time for Kofo to take his examination. His father also paid someone to write it for him, and he passed with flying colors. Even when it was time for Kofo to go to university, his father had secured admission for him through his influence and money. Kofo had life easy, so he resumed at the university as a big boy. He explored money here and there and threw parties every single week, which gained him a lot of friends. Kofo rarely attended lectures, yet he passed all his exams, as he always sorted out lectures just the same way he had learned from his father. He also had several girlfriends who all knew each other and were willing to share him because there was more than enough money to go around. In the third years at the university, he was driving to school one day when he ran into Bisola, a very pretty young lady. Bisola was from a very poor home. Her parents had struggled to send her to school. She was the only hope of her parents out of poverty, so she took her studies seriously. She really wanted to make them proud. She was very brilliant and sitting comfortably on a first class. Kofo did not know what it was that attracted him to her. He had stopped his car and tried to speak to Bisola, but she paid him no attention. "Hi, beautiful. Can I know your name?" he asked, but Bisola did not even acknowledge his presence. She just walked away as if no one had spoken to her. Biso was a very focused young lady, and she wanted no despite the distractions. She had only one goal in mind, which was to graduate with a first-class degree, secure a good job, and rescue her parents from poverty. Kofo was very surprised, as no lady had ever snubbed him in his life. He was shocked but yet impressed, and this made him like her even more. So Kofo decided that he was going to find out who she was at all costs and date her. After he found out her name and her department, Kofo would hang outside her department all day, waiting for her lectures to end so he could speak with her. Biso would see him and would ignore him as if he was not there. However, Kofo was determined, and he showed up every single day at her department. She was tired, so she decided to speak him so he could leave her alone. "Hi, Kofo. Are you sure you are a student at this school? Because I have seen you waiting outside for me in front of my lecture hall every single day for the past months. Don't you have lectures to attend?" Bisola asked, looking irritated. Kofo smiled and replied, "I'm ready to forfeit my admission for you, and I am ready to wait here until eternity if that is what it takes for you to speak to me. Since the first day I saw you, I couldn't take my eyes off you, and I didn't know why. But when I found out that your name is Bisola, which is my late mother's name, I now understand why I couldn't get enough of you," Kofo said, smiling. So Biso and Kofo talked further, and before she knew it, she began to chat and laugh with him because she found him very funny. So enough, they became friends and started dating very quickly. Kofo spoiled Biso silly. He took her shopping and completely changed her wardrobe. He bought her gifts every single day, and soon enough, Biso became the envy of the girls in her department. Biso fell head over heels in love with Kofo, and although Kofo loved her very much, he could not tame his wild desires. He was like a leopard that could not change its spots overnight. Kofo couldn't help himself. He slept with every girl in squares, and each time Biso cussed him, he could apologize and buy her gifts, and she would forgive him. Kofo could not let Biso go, as there was something about her that glued him to her. Yet he couldn't stop hurting him. Biso, on the other hand, couldn't leave Kofo either. She knew he was bad news, but Kofo was her first in every single thing, the first man she ever dated, or even kissed, or even had sex with. Over time, Biso's grades began to suffer. She was in first class before she met Kofo in her third year, but now she was in her fourth year, and her grades were falling so badly because she no longer attended lectures. Instead, she would follow Kofo to night practice every day so he wouldn't go alone and end up in the bed of another woman. Biso was determined to protect her man all that costs, and her grades suffered dearly for it. In just 1 year of dating Kofo, Biso had gotten pregnant for him 6 times and had already committed 6 abortions for him. Kofo would always follow her to the hospital and comfort her, assuring her that he was going to marry her. And when he did, they could have as many children as they wanted. The last time was when she was 6 months pregnant, as Kofo and Biso took a stroll. Biso reached out to him and said, "Kofo, I have performed so many abortions for you, and my grades are so poor now. I used to be in first class before we started dating. Now I am struggling to stay in second class lower. My chances of ever getting a good job have drastically reduced, and I am the only hope of my parents. They all depend on me to bring them out of poverty, and here I am facing woefully." Biso said, looking very sad, "Bisola, why do you worry so much? You know I love you very much, and we are going to get married. Besides, you will never need to work a day in your life. My father is very wealthy, and you will have enough to take care of your whole family, even your whole village, when we get married. Moreover, we are in our final year now, and I think it's time for us to take it further. I want you to follow me home to see my father, so I can introduce you properly as my wife-to-be, and so that you can see how serious I am about you. So immediately we are done with our exams, we can start planning our wedding." Kofo said, "Are you serious? Well, babe, this is the best thing I have heard. Today, when can we go?" Biso looked so relieved and excited. The following week, Kofo and Bisola went to see Chef Kola, Kofo's father, in his mansion in Iban. Chef Kola was very excited to see his son. He welcomed him very warmly. Kofo introduced Bisola to his father as his wife-to-be. "Papa, this is a lady that I want to marry. Her name is Bisola." Chef Kola was very happy and welcomed her warmly as well. About 1 hour later, Bisola was sitting on the chair, just relaxing, when Chef Kola came to Bisola, held her tightly, and said, "Biso, where have you been for the past 25 years? I have searched for you everywhere. You look so young and beautiful. Chef Kola said. Bisola looked shocked as Chef Kola not knowing what to say. Kofo said immediately stepped in and said, Baba, are you okay? Is everything alright? Immediately, Chef Kola composed himself and apologized for his actions. I'm so sorry, Kofo, if I made your guests uncomfortable. Please forgive my actions. I am sure Kofo told you that my late wife's mother was also named Bisola, and as I heard him introduce you as Bisola, I must have lost myself for minutes and mistook you for my late wife. I'm currently suffering from dementia, and also I am on medications to help me. Sometimes I mix up facts. I mix up the past and the present. I'm so sorry, Balo. Chef Kola said, It's no problem at all, sir, and I hope you get well soon. Bisola and Kofo was very surprised to learn of his father's struggles. He had no idea that his father was sick. He was so baffled at how much his father loved his mom. Even 25 years after her death, they decided to spend a few more days with his father. Chef Kola, and during those days, there were times he would mistake Biso, his son's girlfriend, for his late wife and would hug her and kiss her indiscriminately. Biso did not know how to act, especially because he apologized profusely after realizing his mistake. Biso never told Kofo. She was too embarrassed to say a word about it. They returned to school after spending a few days with Chef Kola. They were heading their activities in a school as Kofo and Biso were writing their final papers. After a few weeks, they had both graduated from the university. Kofo and Biso graduated with second class lower. Also, Kofo was very happy and excited. Biso was so disappointed in herself. She had been a first-class student before she met Kofo. However, she consoled herself with the fact that they were both getting married. So even if she lost her first class, she had gained Kofo, a man she loved and who loved her dearly as well. And they were both getting married, and that was all that mattered. Besides, Kofo's father was very wealthy and they would not lack anything. Through his wealth and connections, she would be able to take good care of her parents. Kofo was her last chance of saving her family from poverty. A few months after graduation, Kofo had officially proposed to her, and she accepted. They had both started planning for their wedding. Biso was so happy. She went shopping, did her hair, and had already bought her wedding dress. The church that was to officiate their wedding had sent both Kofo and Bisola to conduct several tests to find out if they were compatible with Bisola and Kofo. A few days later, Bisola had gone back to collect the test results alone when she got the shock of her life. She had breast cancer and had to abort the baby and is no longer able to have children because her womb had been completely destroyed due to the 6 abortions she had undergone in the past for Kofo. Bisola was devastated. She hid the report for days and submitted a fake report instead to the church, and she did not say a word to Kofo about the report. It was now barely 2 days to their wedding. Kofo and Bisola were relaxing in Kofo's house. They both spent the night together, kissing and laughing. Later that night, Kofo accidentally stumbled upon the result of the medical test that they had both carried out a few weeks back. It looked very different from the one Bisola had shown him. Not only was it different, it was clear that Bisola's womb was destroyed and she was never going to be able to have a child again due to the several abortions she had in the past. Kofo was dumbfounded. He was so shocked. How could Bisola have hidden this from him? He decided not to confront her and to think about what his next step would be. Instead, the next day he spoke with Bisola as if nothing had happened. It was their wedding day. Bisola was ecstatic. She had styled her hair and was dressed in a beautiful white wedding gown. She had even gone to the church for her wedding, expecting to see Kofo. However, she got the shock of her life when Kofo did not show up. Bisola was frantic and began to cry. She called his number several times, but it was switched off. Kofo had left her on the altar. She stood there weeping and crying. After a few minutes, Kofo's best man walked into the church and told everyone that Kofo had sent him. He brought out a letter and read it aloud. "I'm so sorry, Bisola, but I cannot go on with this wedding. I love you very much, but I don't think it is enough. I can bear the thought of not being able to have children, and you have cancer breast. I stumbled on the medical report you hid in the drawer, and that was how I found out that your womb had been totally destroyed and you would never be able to carry our child. I pray you find someone that truly loves you. I am so sorry. With love, Kofo." Bisola was shocked at all that she heard. She broke down in tears, weeping that she couldn't believe her ears. The next few days were very rough for her. She thought about her life, how she had been a fool. She was in first class before she met Kofo, and this made her graduate with second class lower. She was a virgin before she met Kofo, but not only did he deceive her, he made her pregnant and made her commit 6 abortions for him. Now Kofo had the audacity to say that he could not marry her because her womb had been destroyed. He did not even have the decency to tell it to her face to face. She had not heard from Kofo since their wedding day. He had blocked her and she had no access to him. All efforts to reach him had failed. Bisola fell into a state of depression. She stayed indoors and wept all day. She looked like a shadow of herself. After a while, Bisola ran out of money, so she had to go back to the village to face her father and her mother. Her mother looked at her in disappointment. So she had failed them. They had wasted money on her education and there was nothing to show for it. Barely 3 months later, Bisola was sitting in her room, feeling sad. She was scrolling through her phone when she stumbled upon Kofo's wedding pictures. Kofo had married another woman barely 3 months after leaving her in the altar. Oh, so after destroying my life, he thinks he can go ahead and remarry over my dead body, Bisola said in anger. In the following days, Bisola picked herself up. She stopped crying and began to put her life back together. She wanted revenge. Kofo could not go scot-free after ruining her life. She knew she needed to come up with a plan to repay him for his wrongdoing, so she started thinking. After a few weeks of planning, Bisola came up with a perfect scheme, so she picked her bags and traveled back to Iban. One early morning, Chef Kola was at home and was surprised to see Bisola standing in his parlor. "Oh, Bola, what are you doing here?" Chef Kola asked, looking confused. Bisola smiled and replied, This is my house. It's me, Biso. Don't you remember me? It's your wife, Biso. Chef Kola, who looked frail and was already losing more of his mind with each passing day, looked at her and said, "Oh, Biso, where have you been? Where have you been for the past 25 years? You look so young. I have missed you so much," Chef Kola said as he held her, hugging and kissing her dearly. Biso did not resist. She kissed him back, telling him how much she had missed him. Over the next few weeks, Biso lived with Chef Kola, pretending to be his late wife, Kofo's mother, and performing household duties as though she was in his deceased wife. Chef Kola had lost his mind and truly believed that Biso, Kofo's ex-girlfriend, was the same as his late wife. In a matter of weeks, Biso had made Chef Kola marry her secretly in court. She had also made him call his lawyers and draft a will that removed Kofo's name from all his properties and companies, transferring ownership to her. She even went ahead and perfected all title documents, replacing all intenses of Chief Kola and Kofo's names with her own. She collected all these documents from the lawyer and kept them safely somewhere outside the house. Kofo had destroyed her life, so now it was her turn to destroy his life. Biso thought to herself that she would make Kofo suffer as much as she had suffered in the past few months. Meanwhile, Kofo had moved to Lagos with his new wife, so he was not aware of all things that had been doing to this father. One day, out of the blue, Kofo had come back home to visit his father. He was surprised to see Biso in his father's house, sitting close to him and hugging him tenderly. "Oh, Biso, what are you doing here? What are you doing with my father?" Kofo shouted. "Hey, Kofo, when did you start calling your mother by her name?" Chef Kola asked. "This is not my mother. She's not your wife, my late mother. This is Biso, my girlfriend, whom I introduced you recently. She's an imposter pretending to be my mother," Kofo said, feeling frustrated. "Don't you dare speak to my wife Biso like that. For crying out loud, she's not just your mother but my wife. I have searched for her for 25 years, and now that she's back here, you dare call her an imposter?" Chief Kola shouted angrily, and as she shouted, he suddenly slumped and died. Kofo was shocked. He ran to his father. Baba, wake up, wake up." But it was too late. Chef Kola was dead. Kofo lay beside his father's body, crying and weeping. He looked up at Biso in anger and said, "See, you have killed my father." Bisola laughed and said, "No, you are the one who killed my husband." "Your husband? When did my father become your husband?" Kofo asked, looking confused. Bisola laughed again and said, "Well, your father and I have been married for 2 months in court. We have a court wedding, and I am sure you are not blind, as you can see the ring on his finger as well as the ring on my finger. So I am not just Bola, your ex. I am Bisola Kola, your stepmother. And for your information, your father has willed all his properties to me, including the house you live in with your family in it. I have changed all the names on all his properties to mine, and I am in possession of all the documents as well. So I give you 7 days to find a new house, or else I will throw our things out like a beggar. So you think you can destroy my life and walk away scot-free Because of you, I barely graduated with a pass. I also lost my wombs, brought shame and disgrace to my family, and you left me at the altar. And you think I will let you go just like that? You must be a joker. Biso shouted angrily. This is impossible. You are lying. That can't be true. There is no way my father would give you my inheritance, Kofo said, looking confused. Immediately, Biso called security and threw him out of the house. In the next few weeks after bearing Tefkola, Bisola took control of all his businesses and properties. She kicked Koko and his family out into the streets like common beggars. She was now in charge of the same wealth that Kofo had promised her. She had gotten her revenge and would now be able to give her parents a better life, the life that they truly deserved, which Kofo had stolen from her. After a while, Kofo's wife abandoned him. She could no longer put up with his poverty. Kofo was frustrated. He kept wandering around, abandoned like a madman. He had come several times to beg Bisola, but Gates' man would not allow him to his own father's house. He lived his life in poverty and regrets. Hi friends, it's me again. Thank you for watching my video. Please let me know what you think. Did Kofo really deserve all that he got? Was Bisola too harsh? Please share your thoughts with me in the comment section, and please support my channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing with your loved ones. Now, until I came you way again with more interesting stories. Bye!